some of the deep country stuff. I like the Conway Twitty and stuff like Touch the Hand of the Man That Made You a Woman. Now, the guy that can sing that song and pull it off, touch the hand of the man that made you a woman. God, I wish I could sing something like that.
Rock, metal, prog, and everything in between. Welcome to this episode of Talkin' Rock with Meltdown. Don't forget to follow the audio-only Talkin' Rock podcast on all podcast platforms. And now, it's time for today's conversation. Here's Meltdown.
You know, Jesse, it's I don't know if you know this or not, but today is the anniversary of planes, trains, and automobiles, and you live that life, don't you?
You know what? It does seem that way, doesn't it? And Harley Davidson motorcycles.
That's right. That'd probably make that movie better if it could be made better for sure. So how's things, man?
Doing great, man. We're in Cincinnati, Ohio, getting places. Where we started out in Illinois and we went up into Michigan, up north of Detroit, up into Alpena, and then over to Grand Rapids, and then down into just south of Chicago. And now we're in Cincinnati, and then we'll be heading your way for, what is it, Saturday night, man. It's this coming Saturday night.
Well, Saturday, of course, Wednesday at Flint, so that's still my way, you know.
Yeah, Flint. Yeah, we're at Flint, and then District 142. So double dose of Michigan there coming up on Wednesday. Now Wednesday's the night before Thanksgiving, so that's a prime time because you don't have to work the next day, and you come out and throw down and party and officially kick off the holidays with us in Flint at the machine shop, and then a double shot of us on Saturday at District 142. District 142, I mean, we've only played there once. It's an amazing place. I love the balcony that goes around on the front, and she's done a great job with that place.
Yeah, it's awesome. And plus, you don't really have to wake up early Sunday morning here either because the Lions will have played on Thursday.
Well, Detroit's having a good year, man.
Man, they're doing really well, no question. I mean, 10-1, who would have thunk, man?
I haven't been pulling. I kind of quit pulling for football whenever Kenny Stabler retired. you probably don't remember him. You're probably too young to remember him. But
I do.
When Kenny Stabler retired, he was the snake. I liked him. And but now I'm getting back into it because I've been keeping up with Detroit. Man, I love the fact that the team is rebounding like they are.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of sports, I'm not sure if we ever talked about this on a podcast or a video call like this before to the people, but people may or may not know, but you saw your first hockey game right here in Detroit.
I did, and I'm not allowed to go any more hockey games.
Yeah. Well, tell us which game that was. Maybe a lot of people remember that game around.
Well, Roman, who's got the Red Wings tattoo, my Jackyl bass player, got the Red Wings tattoo on the side of his neck. He was like so jacked, man. I'm gonna take you to your first hockey game. You're gonna love it, man. It's gonna be incredible. Just even all, how Roman, he just damn gremlin out. Just he's ready to throw it down. So we go to the hockey game, and I get my big beer and my big ass pretzel, and I'm sitting there ready for a damn hockey game. And they come out and they skate around and they're doing their thing, and I'm trying to keep up with it, and just and what are they doing? And that looked illegal, but they didn't call it. But then they did. I mean, it's like. The penalties in hockey are so subjective. I mean, it's like there is no. It's all gray area. It's all for me. It's just like the penalties are gray areas. So anyway, they're out there doing their thing and beat the hell out of each other. And I forget which team that the Red Wings were playing, but some dude fell over dead. One of the hockey players just fell over dead, and they had to revive him out on the ice. And we're all sitting there watching this, going, "Oh man!" They brought the ambulance out on the ice. And they had to tell you, we didn't know if they thought he was dead for sure. I think they ultimately revived him, right? And
right.
He's alive, but I think he stopped playing hockey after that or something. But anyway, so they called the game.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, I hadn't even eaten all my pretzel, and I'd only drank about half my beer. And Roman looks at me and he goes, "You're never coming to another game again." I was bad. It was my fault. I was bad luck because the Red Wings didn't play their whole game. But
yeah,
what team was that?
That was for Juri Fischer for the Detroit Red Wings. Yeah, he had keeled over on the bench, and I think he had flatlined or something. But yeah, that was his last game, and now he works for the Red Wings organization. I've seen him several times since. So, good thing that everything went back to didn't go back to normal for him, I suppose. But
I need him and his doctor to tell Roman that it wasn't my fault.
You haven't been to another hockey game since?
No, Roman, at least if I did go to one, but the crazy thing is I have been to a hockey game. I just didn't stay for it. I had to go down the Atlanta Thrashers. Atlanta had a hockey team for a minute called the Thrashers.
Yeah.
And I sang the theme song for it. And they had Travis Tritt sang the Atlanta Braves. CeeLo Green did the Falcons, and I did the Thrashers. And they had Atlanta artists sing the theme songs that year for each one of the teams. And so they had me sing a Thrashers thing, and I went down before the game and did this whole presentation, and they ran this commercial, and I was there for that. And then, but I ended up having to leave, and because we were going out of town to go get on a tour bus and leave for out of town. But yeah, so I not actually ever seen a full game, and I still haven't.
Maybe if you're going to be around, the Flint Firebirds are a thing. Maybe
Okay.
Up there. So,
Right.
Yeah, Travis Tritt. Do you know him? I didn't realize he was from Atlanta.
Travis and I grew up playing the same bars together. He used to play a place called Mr. J's off Atlanta Road in Smyrna, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. And I would play at Charlie Magruder's, which was the Happening Rock Bar. Well, Mr. J's in Smyrna was in Cobb County, so they had to shut down at like 2:00. So he would stop playing by 1:30 in the morning. But the bar that I played at, we were open until 4. And so I would go over and sit in with Travis at his gig with his country band, and then he would come over and sit in with us at the Rock Bar.
No kidding. So
Yeah.
this was before you were signed?
Oh yeah, this is back when neither one of us had a pot to pee in. And
Okay.
and then we didn't see each other. He got signed to his record deal, and I got signed to my record deal, and we didn't see each other for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And then we were both at the Grammys in New York City at Radio City Music Hall, and I was wearing a black leather jacket with this fringe on it, and he was wearing a white leather jacket with a long fringe on it, and we ran into each other at the Grammys, and we looked at each other and just grinned because we'd both had our dreams come true, and there we were at the Grammys. So it's a cool story with Travis, and he just recorded a song for the Ronald Reagan movie.
Yeah,
and he's got a song on the end credits, and he recorded that in my studio. And he called me up. It's been a couple of months ago. He called. He goes, "Hey, Jess," he goes, "I got to get in the studio like immediately." He said, "Is your place open?" And I said, "Yeah, it's always open," because he'd recorded there before. And I said, "It's yours anytime you want to use it, you know." And so he went over and set up and recorded that song. And then within a matter of a couple of weeks, the movie came out. And so, I mean, they really turned it around quick.
Wow.
But he's such a talented singer. I'm jealous how good he can sing.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to meet him. He's one of the, well, I've had a chance to meet a lot of country guys, but I've met my fair share, believe it or not. But who else has recorded in your studio that we would have heard of?
Well, the guys in Skid Row have recorded there several times. Rachel called me, it was last week, and because they were doing some stuff in rehearsing and doing some things, and I think, well, to be honest, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I think they were auditioning some people. So, so he called. I mean, they use the studio, and he's always welcome to it. And Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses, of the Juju Hounds. Is that what that thing? They recorded there. The Georgia Satellites. CeeLo Green did a solo album there, and I played guitar all over that record.
What year was that?
God, it's been a few years back, but I can't. It all runs together. DMC from Run DMC, he was recording in my studio when I met him. Nigel came into my office and said, "Hey, Dad, you won't believe who's in the studio." And I said, "Who?" And he goes, "DMC from Run DMC." And I went, "No kidding." And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "He wants you to come say hey to him." So I went in and just, waited and just kind of popped in. I thought I'd just say hey and get out of his way because didn't want to disrupt his session. And, 2 hours later, we're sitting in there playing music, and we wrote the song Just Like a Negro. And which if you haven't seen that video for Just Like a Negro in a while, go back and watch it. That is an incredible video. It was really well done. And the guy that directed that video, he does a lot of Ford car commercials. And I was kind of apprehensive about the car commercial guy doing the video, but he killed it. And it looks beautiful, but it's called Just Like a Negro, and it's Jackyl and DMC from Run DMC. And it talks about how the black artist invented rock and roll, and music makes all colors run together, and So it's a pretty cool song, and it talks about the spirit of where it all came from.
Yeah. So your solo
record. And Brian Johnson from AC/DC is recorded in there because we've done those songs that you've done locked and loaded in there. So I mean, the studio, I don't advertise the studio, but it stays busy, just word of mouth.
Well, I have a friend, and he's got a studio, and people will come by and they'll borrow it for a day or two, and that's how it works. You write them a little check or make a donation or whatever the case is. But so your solo record that you recorded there came out a year ago. That's your second solo record, right? Foot Fetish came out in 2000. Is that correct? Third. Okay. Wow.
And Foot Fetish came out in the late 90s, and then Rev It Up and Go came out in 2010, 12, something like that. And then Breathing Fire was just released last year. And Breathing Fire, God, I'm so proud of that record. I mean, it's a bad, and the song Stranded, I mean, it's just, and the video for Stranded is just an amazing video. You got a chance to see it before anybody.
Yeah, no, it's a great video. As a matter of fact, I just watched it again today just to refresh my memory. But man, just the scenes and everything that you got there, man, it's incredible.
Yeah, the buffalo coming over the hill, and the song Stranded. It's a meaningful song to me, But yeah, so thank you. But the album's Breathing Fire, and if you get a chance to go stream and check it out, I mean, that's from the beginning to end, and about a third of the album was written with Brian Johnson from AC/DC.
Yeah, are you writing or doing anything with Jackyl, or just playing shows right now? Family reunions?
Just doing family reunions and shows, and I mean, we're always jamming on stuff and ideas. I mean, but we haven't been in the studio in a bit. I've been thinking about what the next step would be. I mean, it's just right now, just playing live shows and especially as long as we've been doing it, it just means so much, and the fact that people still pack these places out. I mean, hell, the show up in just north of Detroit, up in Alpena the other night, just, a couple of thousand people just going crazy and just having a blast. And it's just, there's not a night goes by that I don't stop and realize how blessed we are that we've been able to do what we do for so long.
Yeah. For 32 years, I was thinking about this when I was coming down here today. You're the longest. I think you're the only guy. Well, you're the longest rock star I've known. How about that? I don't know how to put it. We met back in 1992, way back in the day. And I tell people all the time, my claim to fame is playing the lumberjack. That's my claim to fame ever since.
Well, we got a lot of history, and that was like, and we're probably one of the reasons why they ran you out of Buffalo. I mean, people in Detroit a lot of people just don't realize that you literally got ran out of Buffalo. You have toned down again because you were raising immortal hell. So I'm proud of you for staying gainfully employed for all these years in Detroit. But if people knew the havoc that you raised and the fact that they literally ran you out of the city of Buffalo, New York, they would have even more respect for what you do. And I tell people that all the time. I say, you have no idea. I mean, it's like, I think he had 10 minutes to pack his suitcase and get the hell out of Buffalo.
I'm not sure about that, but so
15 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe 15. Other than Jackyl, are you working on anything else?
I've got a great year lined up with some stuff we're doing with Harley Davidson. We're going to be doing a really cool thing where we do all these rolling campaigns, rolling Daytona, rolling Milwaukee, rolling Sturgis. They're 6-week campaigns where you go into the dealerships and you register to win, a beautiful Harley Davidson motorcycle. And you could also in the process win a 3-day trip for two, down to either any of those events, between Sturgis and Daytona. But this year, anybody that registers for any of our campaigns automatically registered to win a new one that I'm doing for Rolling International, where you can win a trip to Rolling Austria. You get to go to European Bike Week. You fly into Milan, Italy. You stay there for the night. You get up the next day. Eagle Rider puts you on a couple of motorcycles. You do a guided tour through the Alps, and then you drop down into Farsi, spend 2 days at European Bike Week, leave the Eagle Rider motorcycles there, and just fly home from Vienna. And so it's going to be an incredible year getting to do that. And Eagle Rider are such great partners. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that you can rent a motorcycle. You could fly to wherever. You can fly to Daytona Beach, Florida, or down into anywhere, Florida, and rent an Eagle Rider motorcycle ride it while you're down there and leave it somewhere else, just like a Hertz rental car. It's really, really, really cool. They have these cool rides where you can literally rent one in Chicago or Milwaukee and ride all the way across the country and drop it in California. Do Route 66. I mean, and it's a guided tour. So Eagle Rider, really, really great company. And if you haven't checked it out and you ride a motorcycle, it's really cool. An Eagle Rider motorcycle is your motorcycle. I mean, just that simple. Go get on it and go.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, I just put mine away last week. How many do you have at home?
4.
4 of them. Okay.
And 4. And
you ever put it down there or no?
And I don't let my wife know how much I love them.
That's like I asked James Hetfield one time how many hot rods he had. He said he didn't know. And then I said, how many motorcycles? He says, well, I got less of them, but I'm still not sure.
Well, it's something that I'm very passionate about. I love riding my motorcycles.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Roman, like we were a few minutes ago, he wanted me to ask you, what gear do you take Mount Eagle in? I don't even know what that means.
Oh, yeah. With the Kentucky Headhunters were on the bus, and the drummer from the Kentucky Head really, really makes me sound like I'm from New York City. He came up on the bus and up to the front of the bus. I was talking to his band and Richard and Fred Young and all those guys. And Fred walks up and says, what kind of oil do you use in that chainsaw? And I said, hell, I don't know. Because whatever the tech puts in it, and Richard looked at his brother and said, Fred, what kind of question is that? He goes, I don't know. He said, I just like talking about stuff like that. Like what gear do you take Mount Eagle? That always stuck with me. I thought that was funny.
I didn't even know what that meant. And Roman's like, yeah, just ask him about it. Yeah. Speaking of your chainsaw, I was just thinking about this. Has your chainsaw ever broke on stage?
Yeah.
And then what do? The fans they want to see it.
I sling it across the room and then they hand me another one.
Okay. You got a backup chainsaw. There you go.
Got a backup. Yeah. Better have one. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, a couple more quick things here for you, Jesse. Of course, the big shows this week, Wednesday in Flint at the Machine Shop, then Saturday right here in District 142 at Wind-Down. You've probably been asked this before, but what are some of the rock albums that really changed your life? And I know AC/DC is probably on that list. What else would we be surprised to know that you listen to?
I mean, The Who is one of my favorite. The Who's one of my favorite bands of all time. I mean, I think that Quadrophenia is the greatest album ever made. I love Wilson Pickett and I love Joe Tex. Some of those, I love those old 70s soul singers, and they had the best screams, But yeah, just stuff like that. I love. I mean, some of the deep country stuff. I get into stuff like them, Conway Twitty and stuff. I like Conway and Charlie Rich and some of those guys. Just behind closed doors and touch the hand of the man that made you a woman. Now, the guy that can sing that song and pull it off, touch the hand of the man that made you a woman. God, I wish I could sing something like that. I may have to sing that at District 142 on Saturday night.
All right. And then have you ever been to the Motown Museum down here?
I have. I love it.
That's great. I went there for the first time last year. First time I ever been there. It was really cool.
I went there back when I first got out of high school and one of my first cover bands. And we played up in Toledo and we had a day off and we drove over and we pulled up to the house and it wasn't a museum. It was just the house. It was vacant. And we were there and I kid you not, I swear to God on my daughter, true story, a car pulled up and this lady got out. She was an older black lady. She got out and she came up to the door and we said, hey, we're just looking, Motown used to be here. And she took her keys out and opened it up. And she went inside and she was as sweet as she could be. And she invited us to go in and she carried us on a tour of that rundown building. There was still a little bit of equipment laying in there. She was Barry Gordy's sister.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
And yeah. And so I toured that building then. And then I went back after they've done a great job with it.
Yeah. What's the best advice your father gave you growing up?
Well, the deal that I struck with my father was that if I was going to be out starving musician, I couldn't get married or have a kid. And if I did, I had to come home and get a real job. so that's the best form of birth control right there. But my dad he was a blue collar working class guy. And you want to know the truth? Here's the advice. I'll tell you this, and then I'll invite everybody to come and see us at Flint, Michigan at the Machine Shop on Wednesday and Saturday night at District 142. But my dad told me 3 things. never wear another man's leather, never ride another man's motorcycle, and never sleep with another man's wife. That was the three things that my father told me.
Yeah, all good advice.
Yeah. And but that's how sacred he was about his Harley Davidsons. Never ride another man's motorcycle, never wear another man's leather, and never sleep with another man's wife.
What was your dad's thoughts about your livelihood? Because my dad was a blue collar guy, worked in the steel plants, and then became a politician. But you know, his hands were always dirty. Mine are never dirty. Was your dad blown away by your career?
Yeah. I mean, he was always proud. He supported. I mean, you know, him and my mom both, they were very supportive. But really and truly, the only time he ever really acknowledged that I was doing anything was when I showed him a picture of me and Evel Knievel. So when he saw me and Evel Knievel together, he said, "Now you're doing something." So.
All right, final thing here for you, Jess. We'll cut you loose. What's the best tour you guys ever opened for? Like as far as through all the years of touring,
the ZZ Top tour.
What year are we talking about?
The year that they had all them dancers out on the road, because that was a large contribution to the DIVORCE, but sure, it was fun. It was.
That's awesome. Well, Jesse, we'll see you coming up Wednesday night, of course, for the biggest party night of the year at the Machine Shop. Kevin and the guys, of course, always welcome you with open arms, and at District 142 on Saturday as well. Man, I appreciate you so much. Detroit, get ready to kick it out there. Michigan in general, we love Michigan. Always took us in, made us strong. Meltdown, I love you, brother. Have a good one. We'll see you in a couple of days.